So today we're going to be tackling a repair that's not for the faint of heart, replacing a hinge side leg of a door jamb. Now stick with me and I'll show you step by step how to nail this repair. So let's get started. First up, if the door is still attached to the jamb, we need to take it off. Grab your drill or screwdriver and remove the hinge screws. Start at the bottom hinge and work your way up. Now with the door off, let's move on to the trim. Grab your pry bar and hammer and gently work the trim off the wall, taking your time here. You don't want to damage the trim, especially if you're planning to reuse it. Now, as you see here, I tried to remove just one leg of the trim. Unfortunately, that didn't work. I had to remove the top as well, so you might as well do that now. I ended up having to come back later and do it. Now with the trim out of the way, now is the perfect time to measure the hinge locations. This is a critical step as you want to make sure that your hinges fall in the same places, otherwise your door is going to be off and it's not going to sit properly. Time to break out the multi-tool or Sawzall. Now start by cutting through the nails that hold the jamb to the frame. Then we're going to cut through the bottom and the top of the jamb to free it. Now if the jamb is stubborn, definitely cut it in half and it'll make removal a lot easier. Honestly, probably the easiest thing is just to cut it in half from the start. Now let's measure and cut the new jamb to match the one you just removed. Now, if you do end up having to cut the jamb to match, I do recommend cutting the top of it. In this video, I did cut the bottom of it, and unfortunately the slope for the threshold didn't match up perfectly. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably cut the top, not the bottom. Once it's cut, go ahead and dry fit the new jamb just to make sure it fits properly. Using your measurements from earlier, mark the hinge locations on the new jamb. Now let's take it back and cut it. Now, unfortunately, I did not have my jig, so I had to try to make one. Unfortunately, it didn't work as well as I hoped, so I ended up going back to the chisel. Now, a good option for cutting these out is the Milescraft Hinge Mate Kit. If I'd have had it at the time, it would have made this a lot easier and a lot quicker. Unfortunately, I didn't, so I had to improvise. With the hinges out, we can go ahead and get the jamb installed. Now we're going to slide the new jamb in place and just make sure it aligns properly and that the stops line up. Now to secure it, I'm just going to use my 18 gauge nailer, but if you have a 16 gauge, that would work too. Now in my case, this is a door window kit. So it all comes as one piece, so I don't need shims. If you're just doing this for a door, make sure you shim out your jamb so that it's plumb and so that it lines up with where it was before. If you don't, you're going to have a headache trying to adjust the door back in place once it's in. Now let's go ahead and reattach the door. Start with the top hinge and move down. Make sure you test the door out. Make sure it opens, closes, doesn't get stuck on anything, and make sure it locks properly. Now, once the door is working properly, go ahead and reinstall your trim. Use your trim nailer to secure it, and don't forget to fill those nail holes for a polished look. And there you have it. Replacing a door jamb leg isn't easy, but with a little patience and the right tools, you can do it. If you want to see how to completely replace an exterior door, click on the video at the end. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the like. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.